We had completed till verse 69, chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, in which we were discussing about it is night time for the spiritual person when it is daytime for the normal human being, and vice versa. So this is where we had actually stopped. So to give a small recap, I'll tell you. When the world opens its eyes for the daytime, people become human beings and they get into the troubled world. The troubled world keeps them very much engrossed in their life. They can only think of their life as a problem. The spiritual people, meanwhile, are not like that. In their world, this world outside is an illusion. They know it very well. They know that this trouble or this whatever good that is happening also is worthless because they are not attached to that object. And that is the reason why for them they are having the knowledge to understand the truth. Got it? If the world sees it as a daylight, the same thing the spiritual people can look at the people around and know that they are actually in their night time. Because they are going through their Mayavi dunya, that is the world of Maya. So if there is a married lady, she is going through troubled times. So when she wakes up, she is disgusted waking up. She says, why did I wake up to this day? Because she has to face her spouse, her in-laws, her children, the world outside, and it is trouble for her. The same thing is observed by the spiritual people. They can see this woman is completely deluded. So in the night when the world is sleeping peacefully, the mind is at peace, the mind is not working at all. This is in deep sleep. There is no consciousness which is going to, the waking consciousness is not there, so the person has no idea what is happening. Whereas the sage is always awake during the night. He is not thinking in a tamasic mode. He knows that this body has to rest, so the body will be resting, but he is wide awake. Awake to all realities in this world. His consciousness is roaming all over the place. And he knows very well how things are. So this is where we had ended. So now let us move to the next verse. We are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 70. As the waters of different rivers enters the ocean, which though full from all sides remains undisturbed, likewise he in whom all enjoyments merge themselves without causing disturbance attains peace. Not he who hankers after such enjoyments. Here Shri Krishna is giving an example of the waters of different rivers. See, the river may be turbulent. The river may have overflown on the banks also. But when it enters the ocean does not take it as a turbulent river. It has to accept that river as it is, and it is peaceful in its own way. So this was just an example to tell you that whatever is happening in this world, turbulence or happiness, in both these things, a spiritual person is not at all disturbed by it. He is peaceful, tranquil. The tranquility can be seen within that person, because the worst case scenario also might be happening. Somebody might be dead, they might be in accident, they can be pain, injury, anything in this world. You should notice people around you, the ones that you stay with, when they wake up in the morning, what do? Either they are miserable to the core, they get up feeling, oh my God, that's their expression itself tells you that they are not even ready for the new day. They will get up with a pain, some kind of a pain. They wake up to a world of misery. Their mind is troubled. The mind is full of those ideas which they slept with. So all the past experiences imagined suddenly at that given moment in time are rushing through that small brain of theirs, their mind of theirs. Think, the previous day they have faced a lot of issues. When they went to sleep, all those issues were closed down. There was nothing there. But the moment they wake up, all the bad stuff comes in front of their eyes. And their face becomes contorted, distorted. Like that, I can only think of a pig early in the morning. Or a bulldog. There is no smile on their face. There is no laughter in their voice. So this is where the turbulence shows up. The spiritual people are not disturbed by any of this. They know it's a new day, they have to go and do what they got to do. I'm sure you have heard of yogis who get up at 3 a.m. in the morning and they go into the river and have a cold water bath. This cold water is literally ice cold. It is chilled. It really doesn't matter to them. Then they go and do whatever their daily ablutions, stuff like that, all those things. And then they sit for meditation or they sit for whatever that is needed. They are not happy or angry or upset because human beings who are always full of that previous day's anger and upset brings the whole thing out. Do you know what you do in the morning, first thing? You go to the toilet. Okay? And you remove all the bad stuff from your body. The urine and the feces. But the same doesn't happen from the mind. Mind is full of that crap which they had. And they love to wallow like a pig in that crap. Isn't that fun, wonderful to know how people are? So, this is the way in which we behave. Human beings are so much in this category. Because they love to roll in that dirt of theirs. The spiritual people are not bothered about the previous day. Sorry, something came up there. The spiritual people are not bothered about the previous day's experiences or whatever that might have happened. It's because they know it's a dream. It's just a nonsensical stuff which Maya has played in everybody's life. So now ready for the next day for Maya. They are so much happy with it. It's okay, fine, I can face it. That's how it is. So Sri Krishna is explaining that he in whom all enjoyments merge themselves without causing disturbance attains peace. There are no enjoyments in this world. Enjoyments means what? People have enjoyed their life also. Please remember, the word enjoyment is a misnomer over here. It can be misery also. People love to wallow in misery. It is an enjoyment. A pig loves to wallow in grief also. No, all that muck around him. For him, that is enjoyment. Have you seen buffaloes? Buffaloes go into the dirty waters and they sit over there, literally. Plonk themselves inside. And with all the dirt on their body, you let a buffalo loose. He's already dark in color, black. On top of it, he loves to go and sit in this mud. Pigs are also like that. You know, they are pinkish white, but when they go into these gutters, they become brown in color and dirty black color also. So human beings are like that. They get lost in their world of misery or happiness, whatever. The previous day somebody might have won a lottery, or they might have, got married or something like that. Some according to them, something nice has happened. They are disturbed by this happiness also. They are always smiling like this. Why? Because something good has happened in this world. The same thing is not applicable to a spiritual person. He is not going to be smiling or laughing or jubilating just because something has happened, good stuff. No. You have to be tranquil at that point in time. And he doesn't hanker for such enjoyments. He doesn't even bother about such kind of enjoyments. So we move to the next verse now. We are doing chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 71. He who has given up all desires and moves free from attachment, egoism and thirst for enjoyment attains peace. We'll continue the next verse also. Verse 72, chapter 2. Arjuna, such is a state of God-realized soul. Having reached this state, he overcomes delusions, and established in this state, even at the last moment, he attains Brahmic bliss. So this is the recap of the whole chapter. The chapter itself was talking about desires. How desires are there, what kind of desires are there. We have done this in chapter 2, right from the beginning itself. Because Arjuna is actually full of desires. When he says, I am not going to fight this war, I don't want to fight, I am not going to get up, I am not going to do this. He is Arjuna at the end of the day. We always consider Arjuna as some valiant person. We need to understand that Arjuna is as average a human being as you are. There is nothing spectacular about a person because he is showing the same problems which a normal person faces. So who is Arjuna? You are Arjuna. And you have these problems in your life. They stem from that one word called desire. The desire to have something. It can be money, fame, fortune, marriage, happy life, relationships, education. It can be anything, any desire of any kind. Even a petty desire of wanting some food to eat. I want to eat an ice cream. I want to eat this sweet or something like that. A petty desire also. It's a desire at the end of the day. Even if you desire for your child to pass in his examinations, human beings have desires for other people. They want their children to be better off, settled in life. My daughter and my son should be doing well in their life. My daughter-in-law should be very good. My son-in-law should be very nice. Whatever nonsense that person thinks of, it is at the end of the day desire only. In my world also, human beings have desires. The desire to own. Last so many years of my life, I have seen people, they feel that they own this person. I have ownership of him. I don't understand. Who can own? Nobody. There's a pettiest desire that you can have. You cannot own the divine. You cannot own the self. You cannot own your guru also. Please remember this. There is no ownership for anything. And if that is the thing, then it is called desire. Your desire is going to be making you miserable. If you want something to happen, I want to pass in my examination tomorrow. I want to get this job. Now there is an interview today, and if a person says, I want to get that job, that's a desire at the end of the day. Any kind of desire, you name it. There is nothing like a spiritual desire and a material desire. It's a desire. Even to be in spiritual is a desire. I will explain why even that is a desire later on. It's not your call. Who are you? Who do you think you are that you can have this kind of control over anything? You have to think about this question. You are a petty human being who cannot even control the breath. You cannot control the movement of your heart. You cannot control the movement of your blood. You cannot even control the next day what is going to happen in your life. And you are saying that I want this or I want that? That is not how it is. Everything happens by the will of God. Don't forget this sentence. Even the desire to be in the spiritual is the will of God. It is His grace that keeps you in that. And when the grace goes away, you will go away. So many people may join and many people will drop off. See, the idea is some people feel that they are doing some great favor. That is their ego talking. Some people feel that they have to be there because they want to be seen. That is also not correct. So it's a desire. End of the day, it's a desire. So Shri Krishna says, he who has given up all his desires and moves free from attachment, there can be no attachment to anything in this world. Please remember, if you have even the slightest attachment for your body, you are going to be feeling miserable. First is your own self, the body that is there. Something goes in your eye, you are upset. Like that. Something is in your teeth, you keep on doing that. So, if there is something irritating you, you are going to be upset because that is what keeps you in the loop. So, no attachment to the body, no attachment to another human being. The moment you have attachment to another human being, you cannot move in this world. Have you seen a family, which is attached to each other? A very good example is Home Alone. In the movie, everybody is getting ready to go to the airport. One person's delay makes the whole delay for every other person. Have you noticed it? Suppose you plan your itinerary taking another person into account. Two people to come at the same time is not possible. One person is always going to slow you down if you are that fast fellow. But if you are that person who is going to be the slowpoke in this, then you can understand what is going to happen to the whole thing. So either you are slow or you are fast. Two people cannot agree on the same thing. And imagine having children. Do you remember the number of children that were going to the airport along with those parents in the same movie? It was mayhem. And finally they forget to count that one child of theirs. And because they find that they have to board the flight, so they board the flight and finally they come to know that their son is left behind. It's exactly like that. Human beings, when you take another person into account, there is going to be a problem. So my Gurudev came up with a story. My Gurudev's story is so beautiful. So he says that there is a young girl. She is alone at home. And there are some people who have come to see her in marriage proposal. Her parents are not there, nobody is there, she is there alone. Now naturally when somebody comes to see that person, you have to behave as if you are some great sheikh in that. That means you don't have any problems. So though she is cleaning the vessels inside, we do vessel cleaning on our own in India. We don't have washers, what we call that, dishwashers, because we don't have dishes per se. We don't have crockery like that. We have those steel plates and stuff like that. So she is cleaning the vessels. She has put bangles in her hand. In India, most of the women, they wear bangles. So she has got bangles in both her hands. And when she is cleaning the vessels with both her hands, there is noise. So she removes those bangles. Only two are left. So even while cleaning the two, there is noise. So those people who have come to see her will wonder, what is this? Who is this doing work over here? And if they find that this girl is doing work, then it's like a black blot, on that family. Oh, the daughter has to do all the work at home. You cannot even afford a servant. That kind of nonsense is there. So my Gurudev said, if a person has two bangles, they clank. Just like two vessels, empty vessels. When they come together, they make that noise. When there is only one, there is no noise. So here, attachment to another human being is the most problematic thing in life. So it can be a husband, it can be a wife, it can be a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, or whatever. You cannot, if you are a young person, you know how difficult it is to get on with your parents? They are always a pain. You see, they don't understand that they are a pain, and the parents don't understand that the children are a pain. Both of them consider each other as a painful creature. That is because of attachment. My son, my daughter. My mother, my father. So attachments can cause misery. So the person who has no attachments whatsoever is free from egotism. What is this egoism? I am the one who is affected. The first I will start from the negative side. I am miserable, I am affected, I am always being treated like dirt, I am treated like a doormat. These are the words a person says. They consider themselves as a miserable person, always being treated badly. People talk ill about me, they consider me as a very low life in this world. My parents don't respect me, the world doesn't respect me, my boss is a person who always treats me like dirt. He's never given me promotion, he doesn't give me... we always look at it from one perspective, that is the downside of it. The upside is, I am the greatest. Nobody can beat me. I presented this idea, this is my idea. I am the one responsible for this. I made this company grow. I made this in this world. All kinds of stuff. Even if the person has made some petty stuff, in the kitchen. Let us say even, now in India, most South Indians, they create, they have idlis at home. Idli, dosa and all those kind of things. How fluffy the idlis are. Fluffy? You look at them, they are like sponge, It's an idli, my dear fellow. It is nothing great. It's an idli. You just have to eat it. Once you eat it, it becomes the same poop for every person. Did you get the point? The attachment that I made the idli so soft and fluffy. And they get carried away by this attachment. How was my sambar? How was my chicken? How was my dosa? Everything is like that, How do you like it? But what is the meaning of this? You are attached to what you cook, what you do. So that attachment to the things around you, people around you, places. My city is the worst city in the world. There was so much of rain yesterday that the whole city got inundated and the vehicles had stopped and so much of water inside the houses. At such time you should ask the person, so what happens in Venice? What happens in Europe? What happens in the United States? What happens in South America or Africa? Well, everywhere it is like that only. What happens in China? The whole town gets inundated underwater. What is this great deal that your city, my city? Again, place. And the last is called things. Human beings are connected to things. This is my pen, this is my chair, this is my this, and this is my that. And it goes on. So, person should never be attached to anything in this world. So, free from attachment, free from this egotism. It is mine, 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 mine. No. And thirst for enjoyment attains peace. So, the person who has given up desires, all kinds of desires. Secondly, who is moving free from attachments, no attachments of any kind, no egotism, and has given up all kinds of enjoyments, attains this peace. And such a state is a God-realized person. You see, this is the state of the God-realized person. Realization of the divine happens only when you give up desires, attachments, egotism, and the rest. Why are you so much into this material worldly stuff? I want this and I want that. Give all these things up. There is no need for you to have. Please remember one thing. The Divine Lord will give you what He wants to give you. There is no out of turn. Okay? We love to go out of turn. Have you seen outside the clubs how many people hang around? And they are in one line and somebody will come with some very fancy car, maybe a Ferrari, and get off and walk straight to the door, and that person will say, good morning, good evening rather. Good evening, sir. Please come in. Why? What is all that? So So all these things don't matter, because even the enjoyments, they go away into the drains. Such is a case of a God realized person. The realization happens only when you give up these things. In all of this, where is Sri Krishna talking about the kind of realization that is doled out today? Nowhere. Realization, attainment of self-realization or liberation is nowhere connected to any of the material worldly activities as described by the modern, whoever people that are there who are trying to dish it out. So there is nothing like that. So in the Bhagavad Gita, he says very clearly, having reached this state, he overcomes delusions. So delusions, the whole world is a delusion. It's a Maya's creation. So when you overcome Maya's creation, then when you are established in this state where nothing works, nothing, you don't care about anything. You have become immune to all these desires. There is no attachment. There are no likes and dislikes. There is no enjoyment of anything. There is no happiness. There is no sadness. There is no misery. Nothing is there. This person becomes tranquil, peaceful. And such a state is a God-realized state. And such a person attains the divine. Okay? What is divinity? It's a blissful state. By the way, the term blissful is different than happiness. People mix these two words together. Happiness is the joy that we feel in life. If something goes your way, you are happy. You get married and you have liked your, all that nonsense that went along in the marriage, you are very happy with it. So happiness is supposedly the joy that a person feels. When a person has a child, oh, I'm so happy, I got a baby. Okay. What is this? This is called happiness. Somebody gets a good rank. I passed in my examination. I got a good job. I did this. I climbed Mount Everest. They are happy. But the same person turns miserable immediately. Okay? The misery starts from day one itself. After you reach the Mount Everest, you put your flag in that and took one or two pictures. After that, you have to start coming down, isn't it? So from that happiness level, you have to start going back into the miserable world once again. So the first day of happiness, where I got married, I got a child, well, your misery is going to start from the next day itself. You don't know how to rear the children. Full day and night they are crying, pooping and wetting everything. And the kind of voracious eaters some of them are, bawling away to glory. Everybody comes and does kuchiku kuchiku to the child. Everybody wants to manhandle the child. You have to face all these things. And I don't have to tell you what a woman goes through. Okay? The man has to go to the market to get those nappies and stuff like that, which he has never thought of, by the way. Till that point in time, he has never thought of where to get the nappies at the cheapest rate. And then he has to buy them by a gross, 144. Not 1 and 2. It is the way. That is misery. So this person is not disturbed by anything. Such a person is neither miserable nor happy. Both of them are termed as happiness only. The blissful state is a tranquil state. It's not disturbing. It is an equipoised state. Get the word? It's an equipoised state of being. Back to normal, back to everything as it is. This state is blissful state. Okay? So we will stop over here.